Social media or social network is a necessary evil that has come to stay. We cannot do without them, but rather we can invite citizens to see that it is a tool of development and interaction, another tool of destruction and division. In trying to find out what could be or if violence in our society could be as a result of social media advancement, we are having as guest with us here in the studio Api Notch Avi. He is an entrepreneur. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining us. Avi, it is a pleasure having you again once more for today's edition of Viewpoint on DBS Television.
It's always a pleasure, Vanessa. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Manga Venashus, you'll be accompanying us for about 26 minutes. You're equally welcome.
Thank you, Vanessa. Good evening, and good evening to our viewers.
Let us take the first part of the show. In question one, can we blame the rise of violence in our society to social media? Pierre, I will begin with you. Yes or no?
Yes, to a greater extent.
Greater extent. Manga Venashus?
Yes, completely, Vanessa.
Yes. And can the government control the use of social media in Cameroon? Your point of view?
Yes.
Yes. Venashus, are you for the same?
No, I'm afraid.
No. Let us take a second part of the show, the debate. Can we blame the rise of violence in our society to social media? Api Notch, you think that yes, to a greater extent, we can do so. Looking at the trend of the social media and given that it allows citizens to exercise a lot of freedom of speech, we've seen that through the social media, a lot of things are happening, be it positive or negative, and you think that violence is one of them being propagated by the social media.
You mentioned the aspect of the power of social media that is rising every day, and we are living in a world where we have different groups of people using social media today, from politicians to normal civilians to activists to rebel leaders. Everybody has the possibility of owning a social media account, and as such, with very little or no restriction. What do I mean by very little or no restriction? It means that if I have to create a profile that is fake, that does not detail exactly who I am, to promote things related to violence, no one stops me. So with social media, violence has really increased. Why do we say so? There are a lot of things that can happen. There is the propagation of false information. There is the propagation of false allegations. There is the propagation of violent activities. Everybody today wants his voice to be heard, and in reality, those whose voices need to be heard end up not being heard. And this incites, especially the younger ones. Research shows that the younger ones, the youths, adolescents, are more influenced by what they see on social media. And imagine, for instance, that I was to start a riot here, and people maybe in Yaoundé had the same idea, but no one is sure whether to go in. The fact that they see a video of me doing this, for example, I have my camera, I start my riot, and it's videotaped. The fact that people see that this is what I started, it incites them to want to do the same thing. So aspects like this, things like this has proven. There are a lot of examples around the world that shows that people have been affected, people have lost their lives, because of information that has been spread on social media, which are not always very, very valid, sometimes which are not very proven. And all this causes violence, all this affects the way people see things. We are living in a world where people want to do things according to what pleases everybody, and everybody automatically feels that he has is a public figure. Yeah, with social media, everybody is a public figure. When you get up today, you want to create a Facebook account, a page. They ask you, is it a business? Are you a public figure? Is it a brand you're trying to build? You can create your page as a nobody like me and say you're a public figure. And automatically, if you want people to know your activities, you can even promote what you're sharing. And so imagine if you have to just post content which might not physically look violent, but which might be violently inciting. What effect will it have on others? To a particular
people, to a particular tribe, to a particular group.
Exactly. So it causes bias. Imagine posting something that is a little bit, I don't want to use the word racist, but that is a little bit, you know, like an insult to maybe another tribe. You know, that is bias. What happens? People belonging to that other tribe will start maybe condemning what you've posted, and that is how conflict. That is how conflict comes in.
Interconflict between the two tribes.
So social media is good. You use the word at the beginning, necessary evil. It's good. It's a means of communication. Everybody has the means and the possibility, the power to express his or herself, but then it incites a lot of feelings, negative feelings. There's a lot of hatred that goes on as a result, violence, and which unfortunately is always very, very not even grounded. Not even grounded.
And on the other hand, since you said to a greater extent, it's one of the main causes of violence in our society.
Yeah.
So, and on the other hand, how has it not contributed to violence?
Well, on the other hand, how has it not contributed to violence? When I've said to a greater extent, it means that yes, it incites violence to a greater extent, but on the other side, it also incites other positive things. You know, it's only with the means, with the use of social media, that you can sit down here today and sell your services to someone who is in the United States. It's the power of Facebook today is something else. We know personally so many people that have become millionaires because of Facebook, because they are able to do sales, to sell their services. It's the #1 advertisement platform right now online. So it's really very, very powerful. The marketing is something else. So that is how it incites a lot of positive things too. So. Yes, though it affects violence, but it incites a lot of positive things and it changes the lives of people.
Thank you very much, APA. Mangavenashus, he highlighted that it incites violence through the propagation of false news or probably causing conflict between the particular people. But you equally think that we could blame the rise of violence in our society through the social media or by using the social media?
Yes, Vanessa, when we look at the social media they use in our society today, like our guest was saying, you see, it is a powerful tool of communication, yes, but it is a tool of communication that is at the hand of every individual who can now afford an Android phone. Once you can have an Android phone, you are automatically linked to the world. And that power of communication that you have in your hand, so many things have been happening. We just begin from home here. If you look at the way the Anglophone crisis, you know, the speed at which it changed, it had to change from one state to the other, from one state to the other, you realize that the social media contributed to that. Like when the crisis began, you know, people were surprised to see that in Boya, they have started marching from this street in the morning. They're already marching in Kumba. They're already marching in Kumbu. They're already marching in Bamenda. In fact, and it gave every neighborhood that, you know, that aspiration, that strength, that encouragement to participate in the march. And within the twinkle of an eye, the whole northwest and southwest region was already out in street with, you know, with
banners and placards.
Yes, with plants, with pea plants, marching and singing. But if we were in those days where it could take, I remember for communication at the time, for you to write a letter from my village Kumbo to Bamenda, it could take 1, 2, 3 days. From Kumbo to Douala here, practically a week, 2 weeks, even not 1 month. Because you need to see somebody who is coming there. They drop the letter in the agency and they will be looking for you, all this. But then, now, within just a twinkle of an eye, of a second, the information is circulating on the world. It is the same thing we have, this thing called fake news. Fake news is when people are being misled. On social media, like I said, everybody has access to that device. And you can just sit here and, you know, you send out any unfounded information, misleading millions of people on it, that this is what is happening. You know, when the first case happened in Cameroon, you know, when we had in this crisis in the far north region, a minister in Cameroon confirmed that these images are from Mali. They are not from Cameroon. because they said it was circulating in social media. Some other people still from the government said, no, this military came from South Africa. This image came from South Africa since last year. And trying to tell others to refuse that it is not a reality. It is the same thing like when people take any image and post it this year on social media
platforms.
We have the train derailment in Ezeka. When it happened, the then Minister of Communication or of Transport was Mbengo, yes. He said, actually, this image is not in Cameroon. It was at 1 p.m. news. At 5 p.m., he came back and said it is in Cameroon. He heard in Cameroon. So fake news has been, so rampant in our society today because of social media. With that, so many people have been deceived, to think that this is what is happening. Vanessa, if we go away from home, the Arab Spring in the north of Africa took the proportion that it had. It swept across most northern African countries, from Tunisia to Egypt to Morocco to Algeria. It was because of the presence of the social media, because they could understand that people could ask for these reforms, because they really saw that in Tunisia they started asking for the departure of their president. In Tunisia they started asking for certain social reforms, economic reforms. It happened in Egypt. That led to the ousting of their president. From Egypt, it went to Morocco. From Morocco to Algeria, because they were able to follow it, in real time, on social media. We had this NSA protest that took place in Nigeria 3 weeks ago. From Nigeria, it started coming up in Cameroon. NSAS, we started having End Anglophone Crisis, hashtag that has been going on social media because we saw it in Nigeria. And thank God that Cameroon is what it is. It would have crept from Nigeria to Cameroon, because we saw Nigerians doing like that, so Cameroonians could also do like that. In that case, promoting violence. He was saying something about, what we see on social media and we think that we can do it. In schools, you find children, the kind of action that they take, because through social media, they see it in and there's a sporting activity that they call wrestling. They think that this is reality, and you find somebody trying to bang himself on the wall, or trying to jump from such a distance, believing that like he saw it, he wants to do it the same. And most of them have been engaging in so many terrible accidents that without the presence of this social media, we may not be able, Vanessa, to fight it. And when you look at it, when those who carry out the sporting activities, they will tell you that they do not practice this at home or in school. Vanessa, so many marriages have gone, have hit the rock, because maybe the wife saw a woman doing this on social media and believes that that is what that woman does in her home, and is trying to practice in her, forgetting that what I can take, or what I can take, your husband will not take it. What I can take, another man cannot take it at home. So if I do this with my wife, it doesn't follow that you should also do it with your wife. That is why we've had so many problems from social media. Other marriages collapsing because the wife read the message from the husband's phone that was posted on any of this media platform and thinks that this is what is happening. It may be what is happening, but without social media, those things would not have been. Without the presence of social media, maybe the wife may not even be aware that this is what the husband is doing. Maybe the husband may not even be aware that this, because it is both sides. Because you find you sitting with your husband and a message enters your phone, and he wants to see what is there. The message may be from an unknown person, but it may be difficult to convince your husband that you don't know where this message is from. It may be difficult to convince your wife that you don't know where this message is from.
Those are some of the setbacks of the social media.
Actually, and with this, our society has been suffering much, because when you just see it, what comes to your mind is, this partner is cheating, this partner is doing this, and with that, you see a lot of friction, a lot of violence has occurred in many homes because of social media, Vanessa. But we must not refuse the fact that it has its own advantages. Like Notch was saying, they do exist. That is it. But then the violence that we have in our society, we can blame it more to the social media, because it exposes everybody. Vanessa, look at the images that we have on social media. I remember somebody was saying like. Everybody is now a journalist on social media. Conventionally, journalists understand that it is not every image that you publish. There are images that you have to censor. There are images that you have to know how to handle it. That's why journalism, they treat you, or they teach you how to treat information, how to because the images form part of the information. But on social media, anything that happens, anybody takes it and posts it, forgetting that there are some images that not everybody would like to see. There are some images that some people are allergic to it, but we see them on social media on a daily basis. Look at what happened in Kumba. In a normal, in a conventional media house, they will censor the images before sending it out. Look at what happened in Limbe. In a normal media house, they will censor the image, treat the image before posting it out. But you will find women with bare breasts, bare bodies, naked out, posted on social media, forgetting that if those children know their right, they have the duty to sue whoever posted those images, because it's an abuse of their right, and we have these rights that are constantly being abused, Vanessa, on social media.
Thank you very much, Mangevin Shoes, for your contributions. Now we know that the social network is very important for the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications in Cameroon, and in so many ways they've been trying to actually censor it by fighting cyber criminality and by trying to regulate what is being propagated on the social media. And so we are asking, can the government control the use of social media in Cameroon? Apia, you think that yes, they can do so? How would they do it?
I think that they can do so, and I'm very convinced because of what other countries are doing. We have Russia, we have Australia, we have Germany, the European Union itself, we have China. These countries are doing, we will not say they are doing an excellent job, but they are doing a great job when it comes to controlling the activities that go on social media. Of course, we think that because there is that freedom of speech and freedom of usage, it's impossible for the government to do something. We don't want to be very critical of what the government has done or is not doing, but the reality of it is the government can do something. We'll take examples from what other countries are doing. We start with Germany. Germany has a law, a net law on security, which stipulates that social media, any platform hosting more than 2 million users, have the legal obligation to review everything that is being posted before it's posted.
Okay.
If whatsoever content is permitted and posted, which is maybe detrimental, which is not legal, these companies have a fine to pay. And don't be surprised, this fine ranges from 5 million euro to 50 million euros. 50 million for the company and 5 million euro for individuals.
For the individual.
It means if you post something which is detrimental, illegal, you can be charged in court and fined up to 5 million euros. The company can be charged and fined up to 50 million euros. This is what Germany is doing. We take another case, Australia. Australia has a security commission which is in charge of making sure that, of reviewing everything that is being posted on social media platforms within that country. And if you post content which is maybe violent related, which is illegal, which is not morally upright for the citizens, there is a fine to pay. The European Union has the same law applying the same fines. Russia is not left out. With Russia, it's even more difficult. Russia and China, and China has a whole commission that is in charge of viewing and analyzing every post on social media. It means if content is being portrayed which is not viewed morally upright,
like
this commission,
they block it from going on air.
Yes, this commission takes care of it. Russia has a law which stipulates that all the details of each country's social media that really involve individuals should be saved in servers within the country. What does it mean? It means that all of us using Facebook, for example, in Cameroon, our details, Facebook has our details in its servers. The servers can be in America. That Russian law states that the details of individuals using Facebook in Russia, their details are saved in a server within Russia, not out of Russia. This permits these security commissions to be able to track down who is posting what and who is not posting what.
And where is the person?
Exactly. Who has posted this content? How can they trace this person? In Australia, contents are reviewed, and the commission in charge of this security has the possibility of giving a maximum 48 hours notice to these social media platforms to take down each content that is viewed as not right to be posted.
All right, so are you in a way trying to say that the government of Cameroon can copy this example?
Exactly. If other countries are doing it, why
can the government not do it? Yes.
It's a simple law. They have not, all these examples I've cited, they have not told you that these governments have built something big. It's a simple law, laws that are penned down and executed. Once the laws have been executed, this is what we want. The social media company operating, the social media companies concerned will have to abide by the law of that country. So these companies, these countries, have simply created laws related to social media usage, and all social media companies in that country are working by that law. The Germany, for example, that I use as an example says each social media platform, each platform, not even a social media, that hosts more than 2 million users, has to, its content has to be reviewed before it's posted. It's a simple law. The law is there. It's clear. It's simple. If it's not reviewed, it cannot be posted. So the government can do the same thing. China, for example, has restricted the use of so many social media platforms, Google and Twitter and the rest.
But would that not be more challenging to the government of Cameroon, given that we have a lot of fake accounts here in Cameroon? For instance, Manka Benashus was talking of when the crisis started in the northwest and the southwest region, a lot of people joined the crisis as under fake accounts. And even up to date, we have people who incite violence or conflict or imposing ghost towns in this region, hate speech in this region, under disguised identity or account.
What's a server? We are in an IT world. I'm not very versed with IT, but there are some basics we need to understand. You create an account with a fake name, fake email address, fake phone number you're not using. You just bought the SIM card. After creating the account, you throw the phone number. There is something which is not fake, which can be traceable. Your IP address, where that account was created, the room where that person was standing before he created that account can be traced. It's traceable. The device that was used, did you create the account from the sun? You used a mobile device or a laptop. This can be traceable. So whether you're using a fake account or not, they can get to you and pick you out. Cameroon's investigation commission is very powerful. You and I know that. We don't have to talk about it. So it means if they want to add this to the content, to the group of what they can do in terms of investigation, I am 100% convinced that it will be a success.
You are 100% convinced it's going to be a success. Manga Venashus, you rather think that government cannot control the social media?
Yes, Vanessa, I am of that opinion. When I listen to Notch speaking about the idea of what other countries have done, that's good. They've done that, but then come back home. Let us face the reality back home. None of these apps belong to Cameroon government. And these apps, they are people's businesses or property. And before you sign into these apps, there are terms and conditions which you must accept before you sign into. And most of these conditions, they specify terms like that. Their content must be, censored content must be within the ideologies of the platform. All this happened. We are in a world where ITs have their weaknesses as well. The account that I have, that I am using currently, if I created the account in India and I came to Cameroon, I am still using the same account on the same platform. Now, I don't know whether it will be possible for them to trace the room I created in India and pick me from Cameroon. In Cameroon, if these media platforms had it in such a way that nobody can have two accounts, I think it could have been possible. That would have been possible. But then we are in a country where even tracing the individual, let's just take the example of the ongoing Anglophone crisis. Can we say that it is impossible for the government to track? Just take, for example, the recent cases of kidnaps that we've had, the recent cases of violence that we had in Kumba, where they had to snap these girls who were in school, who were naked school children, and post them on social media. it means we can track who snapped it. We can track where he is. And if up to now we don't have them, how do we call it? We have the phone of Saul who was kidnapped, Cardinal Christian Tumu who was also kidnapped. These very kidnappers carried out some video, cross-examination, posted it on social media. We have it because nobody was in their camp to do the video. The video. They did it and then sent it to the world. That's why we have it. Can Cameroon government trace where they are? Or should we say that they don't want to do it? We've had all forms of atrocities where you had, look at this, the two girls that were killed, or the two women that were killed. One was killed in the southwest region, one was killed in the northwest region, where you have them, they killed them and they were filming it, and after that they posted on social media. Why can we not pick them up? I think that it can happen in advanced countries, but I think that in Cameroon, where there are chances for people to create as many fake accounts as possible, it is a bit complicated. Maybe our system is not yet that developed to be able to identify it, but to say that they can do it as of now, the crisis that we have at hand has proven that they are not able to control it. Perhaps governments can do it, but I think that Cameroon government may not be able to do it presently, given the crisis that we have.
I think that.
All right, you're concluding.
Yes, I think that the government can do it, that maybe they have not looked at the possibilities of doing it. Those are two different things. I'm saying that the government can do it. China has banned Google. Google is not used in China. Twitter is not used. So how do these countries, social media, yes, these platforms are people's individual businesses. But of course, you don't come and operate because your individual business in the country and go against their laws. I said at the beginning that they are simple laws. If the government sets laws with relation to social media usage, then those coming in with this platform, these companies will have to respect and work in accordance with these laws that have been set or put in place.
Thank you very much, Ipia Nojavi, an entrepreneur. Thank you very much for your contributions. Margaret sir, you are equally welcome your contributions.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's all about the call for the responsibility of individuals to make sure that they use the social media networks responsibly in order not to hammer their neighbors, in quotes. That said, thank you very much for watching. See you tomorrow. God willing, do take care and stay blessed.